This is KymB reporting from the weed capital of the world, New York City. After almost 100 years of prohibition, the government has finally loosened the hold on cannabis. As we enter a new industry of innovation, technology, and greed, there are some cannabis professionals who have pushed through the doors of opportunity. I talk to them unfiltered and uncut. We get the real story from the highest in the room. So today we are going to talk about all things content, media, and splash in a little talk about one of the hottest products on the adult use and medical market, pre-rolls. And I'm going to say probably the legacy market too. Everybody loves a good pre-roll.
Yes.
So Charles, Chuck, where are you from and where are you at?
Yes. Hey, Kim, great to be here. Big fan, by the way. Love what you do. I love the CWCB, everybody. So I'm originally from Washington State. So up in the Northwest. That's also where STM Canna is based out of. And currently I am living in Denver, Colorado. So kind of in the epicenter of the cannabis world.
Heck yeah. And what businesses do you have?
So, Cannabis and Tech Today, most people are familiar with. We're one of the magazines kind of focusing on the business and the tech. And then also STM Canna, where we do pre-roll automation equipment, manufactured, designed, and built right here in the USA. And we help businesses make great award-winning pre-rolls at scale.
I'm obsessed with anything made in the USA. So
It's
super
cool.
exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's dig into some of the hot and cannabis is hot and spicy. Let's
Yes.
face it, it's hot and spicy. Tell us what's hot in media right now, and also
Okay.
what's hot in your state of Colorado.
I'm definitely seeing a lot of focus on automation, artificial intelligence, just technology that can help operators be, and business owners be more effective, saving them time, saving them money. And so I'm noticing that, any way that businesses can, take advantage of technology right now to help them work smarter, it can be a huge game changer. Of course, they want to apply their old school, like, techniques and practices and things that have been passed down from generation to generation. But I think that the artificial intelligence and the automation can sort of work hand in hand with that and make people more effective. Like, I don't think we're all going to get replaced by robots immediately. I think that we're going to learn how to use robots and AI to work more efficiently. And so that's kind of an interesting thing, from a tech standpoint. And I think also that here in Colorado, we're an interesting market. Colorado is we're not. I don't think we're seeing quite the chaos as like California, and Washington and Oregon have gone through some things as well. But I guess you'd have to say we're kind of a legacy market. We've been around for a minute. I feel like we're still having to deal with some stuff here that is not as bad as some of the West Coast places, but definitely, the market is not as, what's the word I'm looking for? Over on the East Coast and emerging markets, there's a lot of optimism. I feel like on the West Coast, there's kind of a lot of, and I feel like, and I feel like Colorado is kind of right in the middle. We're out of the honeymoon phase, but still there is, some work to be done, and there's a lot of, it's a great place to do business. But I would definitely say that Colorado is one of those places where, I don't know. I felt like we did the rollout kind of good. I felt like we did it kind of smart. I feel like some states, man, they really were clunky with how they rolled it out. And, you might know some over on the East Coast and everything. And then other states, it seems like they figured it out. So I feel like things are good in Colorado, but I don't think that that we are insulated from some of the things that other states are, prices of cannabis, black market, regulation, taxes. Oh my gosh. Right. So there's a lot of things that we have to deal with. And I'm grateful to be here in the Colorado market, but I also do enjoy getting to travel a little bit and go see, what these other places are. And it's exciting to be in some of these newer markets where there's a lot of optimism.
Yeah, and quickly, Colorado, Denver's opening a lounge, right?
Yes. How long has
So,
that been in the
well,
works and
I
waiting?
mean, it's been, Colorado is the longest adult use market in the
Right.
United States. So, it's long overdue, and I am dead ass set on coming to visit. So I'll keep you posted.
Yes, you have to.
I'm with it. So,
I'm
um,
I'm excited. They've been trying to do it forever. You know what I mean? And
no,
it just seems like regulations. It's almost like the city didn't want it to happen, and
yeah.
so they were giving them lots of lip service. We had a great venue here where a lot of events were at the Marijuana Mansion, and then that just I think got sold or something like that. So then that venue was gone, but it was a lot of cannabis friendly events. So yeah, for a place that's as matured in the cannabis industry, we should have more. I think adult use consumption lounges and facilities and stuff. Hopefully, there'll be more to come.
Yes, we all need a place to sesh safely. So,
Yeah, right.
um, speaking of jaded, what burns you up about the cannabis industry? What is that part that's just
Oh,
F
God.
that?
How much time do we have?
I know, right?
No, I think the cannabis industry is awesome. I think one of the things that burns me up about the cannabis industry is sometimes we don't support each other, and sometimes we actually kind of eat our own in the industry, especially as of late. You might have noticed there's been a little bit of the hemp derivative side versus the THC side, and even in Florida right now, they're basically like drawing battle lines.
Wild.
It is wild because at the end of the day, we kind of are sort of connected at the hip, and you would sort of think we want to be supporting each other and encouraging collaboration.
Tell us about why and when and why you started the magazine.
So I've been doing really high end publications and event publications for most of my adult life. Started out in sports, doing like official programs for like the World Series, PGA Championships, NASCAR, bowl games, all that stuff, and got out of sports, got into tech, and launched a magazine called Innovation and Tech Today, kind of like a Wired magazine or Fast Company and a Forbes, something like that. And we've been doing that for a while. And being in Denver, being the part owner of STM Canna, which is a cannabis tech company, we started to realize that there were a lot of lifestyle publications. There wasn't a whole lot dedicated to the actual tech and the science and the innovation in the industry. So we basically spun off from Innovation and Tech Today to do Cannabis and Tech Today as like a sister publication. And then we did another one called Residential Tech Today, which is all your smart home, your blinds, your home theaters, everything like that. And it was really, really well received. A lot of people, we did the same quality that we had done before. These are like really nice coffee table quality newsstand. You can go find them at a Barnes and Noble or a trade show like
For sure.
CWCB. And they're really, really nice. We think magazines stick around better and don't end up in the garbage can when you make them real high quality, but
Absolutely.
you've got to have great content. And our themes have always been, some kind of celebrity crossover as well on the cover. So that formula seemed to work here really well. And some people have said to me like, well, what does tech have to do with cannabis? And I'm like, oh man, where do we start? There's a lot of tech, and people don't realize, outsiders especially, don't realize that there is an incredible amount of science and technology that goes into almost every aspect of the industry. So that
Heck
became
yeah.
our playground, and we got to get in and have fun and work with a lot of great brands and events. And that was sort of where it came from. It spun off from a mainstream tech magazine, and we used that credibility and those relationships and stuff to leverage cannabis and tech. And yeah, we're going on like 6 years now.
That's amazing, and congratulations on longevity. Being a print magazine is not for the faint of heart, as the
Yeah.
cannabis industry as well. So, kudos for the longevity. And I think cannabis is all technology. It's like
Yeah.
grow technology. It's
Right.
like, sales technology, marketing technology, and just like you said before, automations on every step of the way. Like there is a new industrial revolution happening, and it's a tech revolution, and it's been happening for the past like 30 years. And like, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, regardless of what you think about them as humans, I love Steve Jobs, so I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, but
Yeah.
there has been this explosion in technology, and that is part of every single industry. You can't be in an industry unless you're using technology, because there would be nothing, because we're all just so accustomed to it. So,
100%.
um,
Yeah.
tell us why content is so important. Why is content queen, and what makes the content really interesting and important to the consumer?
I think that's a really good question. It's kind of one of the age-old questions. I mean, we've got one rule here. If it doesn't bring value to the audience, it doesn't run. Right. So unless it's like some sponsored content that they've paid for and we clearly market as that, kind of an advertorial type situation, if it doesn't bring value, it doesn't run. And so in that regard, we're able to make sure that we are telling good stories that people care about, that are important, and we want to inspire and inform. And if we can do that, it's tough because we do the boring work that isn't clickbaity and what I mean, engagement farming and everything like that. Like there's ways to do it, but when you click on our story, you don't go to the page and there's not like 87 pop-ups and 35 windows that make it
Right.
impossible to navigate. You know what I mean? We still care about that consumer experience to our readers, and we just want to tell great stories. And we're always looking for great stories. And in this industry, there's a lot of interesting and inspirational stories. So we're lucky, to be in an industry like cannabis, like the hemp industry and industrial hemp and everything like that. Like all the, there's so many great stories, happening on the social impact side, and there's so many incredible organizations that are working out there, really busting their butts every day. We get to tell those stories, and for me, that's a cool part about it, because as a tech magazine, we're not just like white papers and X's and O's and chemical formulas. We try to make it easily digestible, and at the same time help destigmatize, because the more that we can normalize this as any other industry and we can tell good stories, it's actually an important part of the entire industry, is having legitimate media that is accepted by the outside, and showing that, hey, listen, we're an industry just like anything else. And so I truly believe that the cannabis media has played an important role and will continue to play an important role in an ever evolving, ever growing cannabis industry.
I agree. And I think it's, as a CMO of a multi-million dollar company, I like really believe that the foundation of your company is not your marketing tactics or your advertising, but it starts with the story and
Mhm.
making sure that you have a way to connect with people. Because let's face it, like 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when Colorado went legal, there was no competition, right? It
Right.
was it was like legacy market that was still hush hush, because people are still in jail and still going to jail, free all of the
Yeah.
weed prisoners. But like it was still kind of hush. Like people weren't as open, like selling cannabis on Instagram. And so, but now, the market is wildly flooded, not just with legal brands, but the legacy market that has exploded in the past, 3 to 5 years. I've never seen anything like it. But I feel like there's just, if you don't have a good story, and you're just like a fly by night brand, that's what you'll be. A
Yes.
fly by night brands. You'll come in, you'll be hot for 5 minutes,
Yeah.
and then people are like on to the next. But when you're out there, putting your story out, people are like, oh, I like this brand because they're women owners. I like this brand because,
Yeah.
they third party lab test and they talk about it, and I think there's a lot to that. Now, I think also, your storytelling is interesting, and your covers are compelling. There are a lot of celebrities that have went from celebrity to cannabis celebrity. Who are a few of your favorite covers?
Oh man, that's a good question. We were actually talking about this before because we've got some, some really iconic ones. Like if you think about magazines, one of the things that makes them almost historic is those great covers, those iconic covers, whether it's Time magazine or High Times or, Playboy, Rolling Stone, right? Those covers they speak to people and they're amazing. So we've got a great creative director who's really done some awesome ones. But we did one with Be Real from Cypress Hill. That was a very, very creative, kind of take on what he was doing that they really liked. I like the one with that we did with Jim Belushi. We've done some other ones as well that were just completely just you know what I mean? Like it's not just throwing a headshot on there. It's that the design, the flow, the layout, the way they all come together. I feel like it makes it something that is, I mean, that's why we have magazines, is because at the end of the day, you could read a story anywhere, but a magazine, when done right, it's almost like a work of art. It starts with that cover, then it goes into the layout, it goes into the intro, the design, the flow, right? It's an experience. It's a tactile. You can almost smell, you know what I mean? And as you're going through the magazine, a really great magazine, it creates an emotional connection. It truly does speak in story language, like you were saying, to the audience, and that's why niche magazines still exist. And the cannabis
Facts.
industry is different because obviously there's a lot of channels that we can't advertise in. We can't do, try doing some Facebook ads or try doing some Instagram ads or
Oh, I know
even
all about
right. We're
it.
still getting our Instagram accounts and YouTube accounts shut down. So in almost 2025. So magazines are kind of one of those safe places where we can have a conversation, an intelligent conversation, a creative, playful, experience with each other. And I think that is one reason why magazines still, have a lasting effect, is because there's almost an emotional connection with the audience. Whereas you can just get any content online, you can Google any story and you can do it. But a magazine, when you get that every month, or in our case, every quarter, you come there and it truly is. It's kind of an experience, and it's a different form of storytelling, but it is also 2025. So our magazines are, on all the digital platforms. We've obviously got podcasts and we've got, social to tell the story too. But no, the magazine is something pretty cool. And the covers, I think, are something that we're super proud of. And honestly, we just did our Women of Cannabis issue. The first time in 6 years, we did an issue that was almost 99% women. And that means the articles that were written, the features that were done, almost every aspect of this magazine was women in the industry. And I'm very proud of that.
Amazing. Well, I can't wait to see it. And Deja and I have been featured in your magazine a few times over the years, and thank you so much for that. Can't wait to see what you guys have coming up in the women's magazine edition, as well as all of 2025. Um, what are your thoughts on paid media?
In this day and age, publishers are hurting. Magazines continue to get shut down. When we started Cannabis and Tech Today, I feel like there were a lot of magazines, a lot of online publishers that aren't here anymore. They're gone. And they don't print anymore. So there's only a handful that are even still, alive and out there doing it. And so I think that those publishers, they need to find a way to stay in business. And that means sometimes, you're going to accept paid, uh, um, sponsored content or promoted posts or things like that. And it's not unlike, paying an influencer to endorse your brand or sponsor it. It's just, I think that it's really important. And by the way, I think it can be beneficial. I really do. I just think that it's important for a publisher to maintain that trust with our audience. They need to know that if somebody paid for a story or they paid for placement, that they're going to the audience is going to know. And I don't mean, a PR firm pitching us on a story, because we get pitched on stories all the time. We get, people saying, "Oh, hey, would you like to talk about this brand?" Or "We've got this cool angle," or "We've got this new product." That happens. That's all part of the industry as well.
Right.
But, actually paying for having your content placed or whatever, it's a little bit of a gray area. And I think that it has to be navigated very skillfully by the publisher to maintain credibility. I think that, the most important thing for people trying to get their story told, and I feel like that's a good recurring theme, is story, because your story's everything. There's lots of ways to get it done. And I think that if you're smart about it, that you will get your story told and you can help break through the noise, because there is a lot of noise as well in the industry.
I agree. And Deja and I have had PR reps, and we have not. And but at no matter what, we've gotten amazing placement. So I
Yeah.
think that's great advice. Now I want to talk about pre-rolls.
Yes. Let's do
The
it.
rest of this segment, we're going to talk about pre-rolls.
Yes.
Tell me about pre-rolls and all of the things around it.
So, as the people listening and watching probably know, pre-rolls are pretty hot right now. And pre-rolls also can be very labor intensive to produce, and it can be difficult to scale. So you have consistency, with your product. And at the end of the day, part of a story of a brand is consistency. You want to know that you're going to be able to count on it being a certain way. And so what our machines do is help people be consistent, help brands put out great pre-rolls. They can still customize, their grind, their moisture level, what kind of flower, infused, non, size, everything like that. We just make machines that help them get that dialed in. And it's a semi-automatic solution. So I tend to think semi-automatic is better for most instances, because with semi-automatic, you get the power of the automation, but you still have that human touch there. You still have that quality control, where sometimes with the fully automatic machines, and those can be great too. I'm not knocking the competition, but those fully automatic machines, sometimes you don't know there's a problem until you're, a few thousand pre-rolls into it. And then you've kind of got to go back. With the semi-automatic, you've got an operator looking over your grind, making sure that the fill is good, making sure the close, making sure they weigh. And so you get that human element along with the technology that allows them to do 72 pre-rolls, in like about 30 seconds at each stop of the way. So we make machines, and we continue to put out new ones that are, what the people are asking for. They come to us at trade shows. They come to us at MJ Biz. They come to us at CWCB, NECAN, whatever. And they say, "Hey, can you guys do something like this? Or can you help us with this?" And we're like, "Just wait, we've got something coming down the pike." So, we started with just the rocket box. And then we got the atomic closer, which helps people close, which can be a real bottleneck.
Yeah.
If you have to do it by hand, it's a real pain in the
Labor
neck.
intensive.
Super labor intensive. And so then after the closer, we've got this weigher that weighs all 72 instantly to make sure that they're, exactly to the
Of each other.
specifications you need. In some, in some jurisdictions, that's really important. And now we've got an infuser, which is a 3-in-1 infuser. It'll infuse edibles, carts, or pre-rolls. And all these machines are kind of standalone, and we have a 72 count tray where you can just go from one machine to the next, to the next. And once you have extra trays, now you're just going station to station to station, and you end with just great pre-rolls. So we have some award-winning pre-rolls, like winning cannabis cups and stuff like that are using our stuff. We even have a 1,000,000 pre-roll club, where we've got a bunch of producers out there that have made 1,000,000 pre-rolls with our stuff. They get a little golden roller award. They get a little
That's
plaque.
amazing.
And it's pretty cool. Yeah, because they use our stuff. And, last thing I'll say about it is, you don't have to just use our stuff. Some people like to do their own tech stack, so maybe they'll use somebody else's grinder, but then they use our rocket box to fill, or maybe they have their own packing system, but they use our atomic closer. That's okay. Our stuff plays nice with everybody because it's modular and backwards compatible. You can use one machine, a couple machines, a whole line. It really doesn't
I love
matter.
it.
Yeah, but it will make it so that you can grow and scale your business and not ever reach a point where you're like, we've outgrown this machine. What do we do now? No, you can just add something. You can get a couple more trays. You can get, something else, and really create your own tech stack. That's the fun of it, is seeing all these different operators, all these places around the world. They have different environments, different humidity, different regulations, and they're all able to get it dialed in and just make great pre-rolls.
I think there's been an explosion in the dog walkers because there's such a great concept, especially like for me,
Yeah.
I will smoke a joint for 3 days.
Yes.
Like it's like three, I'm like, and you know what happens after you smoke it? The first day is great. Second day is good. The third day, you're like, this is cotton mouth, tastes nasty,
Right.
bullshit. I don't want
Right.
to smoke this anymore, but you don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
So I love the little mini joints, the dog walkers and smaller. I think Jeter really like a few years ago, like Jeter really just like hit the nail on the head. And not that they're my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that they came out and people were like, yes, I want this. And I think it kind of took the pre roll industry by storm because people are like, mini joints? It's like,
Yes.
like my dad used to smoke pinners, and I'm like, how did he smoke? It was all paper. And
Yeah.
it's kind of the same mentality of like a single serve. Give me just what I'm going to smoke right now because I want a fresh one. And
Yes.
I'm a snob. I've smoked some of the best cannabis in the entire
I
world
bet
over
you
the
have.
30 years of selling
Yeah.
weed, and I know what good cannabis is. I know what shitty pre-rolls are,
Oh.
and closing them, if they're too tight, you can't get puff on them. They don't
Oh.
burn. Infusing them, they don't burn easily. So I think it's really important for the marriage of semi-automatic. Well, there's still a human being who knows
Yeah.
what a fucking bad pre-roll is.
Yes.
Well, with the automation to be able to scale, because listen, I think we all are here and we can close this segment up saying cannabis is a lifestyle, but it's
Mhm.
also a business and we want to make some money.
Make some money, yes, and have a great time doing it. Live a great quality of life with our friends, and get to enjoy those magic moments. And absolutely, pre-rolls help do that. And isn't it nice that we now have some choices? It used to be like you'd go in, maybe a few years ago, the dispensary, and it'd be the same crappy pre-rolls. Now, different sizes, different, you know what I mean? So many different experiences infused,
It's
keep.
delightful.
It's great. Yes. So yeah, I'm happy to be a tiny little part of the industry that brings people joy. And honestly, joints are very much you can smoke them by yourself, but also they're really great, with a circle of
Social.
friends and stuff like that. Yeah. Very social. Yeah.
It's a sesh. Well, I can't wait to come down and sesh up in Denver at one of the new spots that open.
Let's do it.
Um, but in the meantime, I think we've really covered a lot. Thank you so much for being my esteemed guest. And I've known you for years, and I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to catch up with you via podcast. So this is KymB and Chuck, highest in the room, signing off.